Good morning. Welcome to the 15-minute Chassidus Shir. We are learning the Maimer Vadat Tzava, Tovshin Mem Aleph. We're holding by Oishei. In explaining the pasuk Vadat Tzava that you, Moshe Rabbeinu, should command the Yidden, we explained in this Maimer that Tzava means connecting. You should connect the Yidden to Hashem. How can Moshe do that? Because the relationship of Moshe Rabbeinu to the Yidden is like a Rosh and Regel, the head and the feet. And as the same way as the head gives instruction and brings life and guidance to the feet, so too they have neshama. Moshe Rabbeinu is that can help bring out the direction of how the Yidden should be as they were in the Midbar. And we have the Spashtus of the Moshe B'chol Deir. There's every generation has a Moshe Rabbeinu. The Mordechai B'Deiri was like Moshe B'Deiri, and so he was able to help the Yidden bring out their Mesiras Nefesh in the time of Purim. Kosis L'Moyer, we explained, that means Kosis is broken, crushed and broken, and that helps bring out L'Moyer to the source, the Etzem, the Neshama. When is that? In the time of Golus. So the question that we're in the middle of is, the Friedrich Rebbe explains first that there's the Veda of the Ispashtus of the Moshe in every generation, and then he explains that the time of Golus brings out the Moyer. So the Rebbe asks, why is that the order? It would seem that Golus itself would bring out the Etzem, the Moyer. Why does the Friedrich Rebbe first explain that you have the Aveda of the Moshe Rabbeinu in the generation bringing out the Neshama and Mesiras Nefesh? So in order to understand this, Oishei is explaining, where do Yidden get their love for Hashem, the fear from Hashem, the emunas Hashem from? Where do we get this belief in Hashem from within us? It comes from the Nefesh Elikis. Nefesh Elikis is an energy, a soul power, a soul of a whole life energy that we have within us. As the Alter Rebbe explains in the beginning of Tanya, the Nefesh Elikis, it's a Nefesh Elikis. It's a whole life, a whole being of serving Hashem with Seichel, with Midas, Machshava Dibra Maisa. And this bundle of godly energy has its source above. It's an entity, a soul. Everyone has a soul, a neshama, but it's a chelik elikam. It's a chelik neshama. Neshama beguf. It's covered over by the nefesh abamis and by the guf on the average person. The ispashtus of the Moshe, his nefesh elikis shines through, and so there's a connection, this godly connection with all neshamas that flows through the head neshama of the ispashtus of the Moshe. So where do we have? How can we describe this emunas Hashem, this belief in Hashem that every Yid has? So in this, Ois explains there's two levels. The last year we started this. We'll start again from the beginning of Oisei. V'yesh levaya ze al pi yedua dezesh Yisrael maminim belokos be'emuna pshuta. This to explain this whole inyan of the Etzem and Neshama, Mesiras Nefesh of the Neshama that we have, that every Yid believes in Hashem with a simple emunah. You don't need it. It makes sense. It resonates. Yeah, there's Hashem. There's a Creator. There's something so much more to the universe than just what it appears. We don't need proofs on this. Is mitzad shnei inyanim. There's two inyanim. Two inyanim means shnei timim. There's two reasons, which is two inyanim, two aspects of the neshama. One is because the neshama above sees El Hashem. We live in a world where we see gashmis. We don't see ruchnis. If you take away the gashmis, then it's all ruchnis. We know that we have a neshama because you feel you're alive. There's an inyan of a life energy within. Now, we only know that as it is in the guf. But it's a life energy that's not limited to and exists before there's a guf and after the guf. It's like when Right now we have a body. We are a some body. When the neshama leaves the guf, we become a no body. So what's that like? That's a neshama. It's a spiritual entity that exists in all the spiritual worlds. All the flow of chayas that there is, of energy from the infinite Hashem into our world, it's a solid spiritual structure, which we can't see. However, the neshama in this world, either in the world of ruchnis, of Asiya ruchni, or Yetzira, or Bria, and how much more so in Atzilus, these neshamas experience the godly flow of light, of energy, that the whole existence is because of Hashem. So there's this level of neshama where it sees it. That's seeing. Now, when you see something, the language is seeing. There's a difference between seeing and hearing. That seeing, when you see something, it becomes part of you. It becomes, in a way, experiential. You experience, and you can't get rid of it. You tell somebody, don't think about that picture. Don't think about that sunset. You can't. Yeah, you put it out of your mind. You see it in your mind. There's a din in the Torah that says, Ein Eid Nasadayin. A witness to an event cannot become the judge of an event. Because once you saw it, there's no way you can be convinced different. If you didn't see something, you could hear different sides. You could hear maybe like this, maybe like that. But if you saw something, there's no way you could entertain the opposite, that it didn't happen. So seeing is a koyach that makes something, integrates something into the person. So now you have multiple levels. The neshama, but however, in this case, the neshama l'mayla sees elokus. The third line down, the neshama l'mayla roy elokus, re'ir shalamayla min haseichel. And this seeing is called l'mayla min haseichel, because there's the understanding, shmiya, hearing, meaning, understanding. You can understand something, but no matter how much you understand it, you can entertain intellectually the opposite, and that's how we learn. The Gemara is based on that. There's you can understand it this way, understand it that way. There's a proof from this pasuk, a proof from this pasuk. You could see it through this angle, see it from a different angle. That's understanding. However, the whole realm of understanding something is fascinating. When you talk about a concept, there's a concept. You've got concepts. Hashem put into the world concepts that are that's only relevant to human beings. The animals, like a beaver, builds a complicated nest. Birds build a nest. Ants build their ant homes. Bees with how they live in the beehives. There's a natural instinct that animals have to exist. People have understanding. We understand engineering, physics, medicine, science, how things work, mathematics. We have a structure of seichel around it. You don't have birds learning about the engineering of which twig goes on top of another and how much dirt you need to have. They don't have schools. They learn about it. They just go and do it. It just works. So we have these different concepts of seichel. Concepts, intellectual concepts. That's what we call seichel. What are they? They're stuff that Hashem created also. However, it's not things that you see with your eyes. Only way you get into that world is with your mind. We have the expression. You say to somebody, "Do you see what I mean?" Well, that doesn't make sense. You should say, "Do you understand what I mean?" You have the classic picture of somebody getting a new idea. You say their mind lit up. You have the light bulb went off. I see it. I got it. So it's a unusual because it's with your mind, not with your eyes. So how one way of how this works is the Shem created these different concepts. Now, how do you get to a concept? How do you get to an idea? It's with your mind. It's as if when you're studying something or someone's teaching you something, you'd be in a room and you're looking around, you're trying to find something, and someone would say, "Oh, you know what? Look over there." So, oh, I see it. With learning and studying, it's a similar process, but it's with your mind. It's as if someone says, "Look over there with your intelligence." Do you understand it? So you put your head into it, and you begin to grasp it. So how do you grasp these things? Not with your hand, not with your physical eye, but with your mind. And so you begin to explore it. If you'd be in a dark room and you'd grope around with your hands, you see, is it a chair, is it a table, is it a bookshelf? When you do this with your mind, you're trying to figure it out. And you get bits and pieces. You understand it. How's it going? And then there can be a level where it's not that you've worked to understand it so much. You've come to a point where your mind is open enough that the concept shines in. I got it. Now I've got it. And at that stage, it's called Riyad Chochmah, where the concept is not that you're grasping the concept, it's shining into your head, and it's so real, it becomes experiential that you see it and it's part of you. There's no way you convince different. We actually have a Gemara like that. The Gemara in Be'er, there was a discussion of the Gemara, and Rav said the halacha. They asked him, how could you say that when many questions? He didn't respond. Later they paskened the halacha like him. So the Chassidus explains because he got the concept so clear that it was shining, the concept was shining in his mind, and he saw the inyan. He saw it, and so it became, that's how it is. As if you saw something and it was unchangeable. Not because it's an action. I don't want to hear anything different. It lit up in his mind and he saw it. Later, they figured it out. It was able to come down into seichel. So that's what we mean by re'iyah. Seeing something l'maylam in a seichel. You can work to understand what are the proofs that there's a Shem in the world. And that's a whole parsha in itself. There are intellectual proofs and that you've got to conclude logically that there's a Shem. But not necessarily does that shine through in such a way that you totally you see it without any possibility of something else. The neshama l'mayla is in the spiritual world, experiences Hashem in a way which is not based on intellect, and that's what he called it, sees the neshama. Re'ir shalamaylam neseichel. And that's how the neshama is l'mayla. This is one piece. Third line towards the end of the line, v'zeh poil b'han neshama shebeguf emunah be'elokus. And because, and this affects on the neshama in the body, our belief in elokus. So this is why Yidden here in Olam Hazeh, neshama beguf, why it is that we would feel we have this emunah Hashem, because we have deep within us that dimension, that reality of a neshama, that peace, that's who we are, that our life-giving energy of the Elokus, the godly side, the Nefesh Elikis, saw Elokus, and so now, even though we're in a Gufri Nefesh Abamis, and which covers over, but there's deep down within us, we've got this experiential piece as well. We'll continue Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow. Thanks for joining, and have a great day.